Hello, good morning everybody. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. We're getting started just a couple minutes late. We're letting everybody arrive with the ice and the freezing temperatures on this beautiful cold January morning. My name is Andy Lucas. I'm with Community Development Services. We work with the Lake County Economic Development Corporation, which is the entity that puts all this together along with several partners, including Woodland Culinary program as well as Woodland College. So I want to just first thank everybody for being here, and then also your work throughout the year to put on this fourth annual Restaurant of America and the U.S. Coast Guard, as well as the U.S. Coast of America and the U.S. Coast Guard, as well as the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. And then we have Chef Robert Cabreros with the Woodland Community College Culinary Program. They'll all be speaking today, so I'm going to quickly go through some background information on each of those entities. The Culinary Institute of America, CIA, the other CIA, and the United States Coast Guard represent two essential pillars of the global food system, education and service. Together, they highlight how food concepts craft, discipline, leadership, and opportunity across industries and communities. The Culinary Institute of America is intentionally recognized for shaping culinary professionals who influence food service, hospitality, sustainability, and innovation worldwide. Through rigorous training, hands-on education, and industry leadership, the CIA prepares individuals for careers that span kitchens, entrepreneurship, food systems, and beyond. The U.S. Coast Guard plays a vital role in protecting the nation's waterways, fisheries, ports, and supply chains that support food access and commerce. Through maritime safety, environmental protection, and logistical operations, the Coast Guard helps ensure the safe movement of goods, including food, while also offering career pathways that develop leadership, technical skills, and service-driven professionals. Together, these institutions demonstrate how passion training and service intersect to create meaningful careers and support the system that sustains our food industry and communities worldwide. So we're going to have representatives from the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and the Culinary Institute of America presenting on culinary pathways. And I'd like to also read this bio for Chef Robert Cabreros. Chef Robert Cabreros is a culinary chef and instructor with the Woodland Community College Culinary Arts Program, where he has trained aspiring food service professionals for nearly 2 decades. A Lake County native and graduate of the Yuba College Culinary Program, Chef Cabreros completed his advanced training at the Western Culinary Institute in Portland before returning home to share his passion for food technique and industry readiness with students. Under his leadership, the Woodland College Culinary Program emphasizes hands-on experience, real-world kitchen skills, and professional development, preparing students for careers across restaurants, hotels, bakeries, hospitalities, and food service management. Students learn everything from classic culinary fundamentals to menu planning, food safety, and beverage service, as well as operational insights that position them for success in a competitive industry. In a notable achievement for the program and the region, Woodland's Culinary Initiative, anchored by Chef Cabreros' leadership and curriculum innovation, recently became the only college program locally to achieve Blue Zone certification, reflecting on a commitment to health-promoting food practices, community well-being, and lifestyle education integrated into culinary training. Chef Cabreros' dedication to mentorship and community connection has helped countless students advance into the food industry with skill, confidence, and purpose, making him a respected educator and a driving force in building culinary pathways in Lake County and beyond. And that is all to say that Chef Robert is passionate about helping students to be placed, as well as to help them in entrepreneurial endeavors such as opening a restaurant, a food cart, a food truck, front of house, back of the house. I'm probably speaking out of school now. I'll let you take care of that. But thank you again, everybody, for being here. We really appreciate it. We look forward to a great, successful day and helping to build this industry in Lake County. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Coast Guard Auxiliary to come up and speak a little bit about their role and their programs. And thank you all again for being here.
Thank you, and I'm not sure I need this, but I'll use it. Why am I here? I'm here for one reason and one reason only, period. One reason, and that is to offer opportunity. You're going to hear a great program with our regular Coast Guard personnel later that's probably more applicable. But here in Lake County, we have a flotilla that's been active for over 50 years. We do boat patrols, we do a lot of things, but we now have a culinary program. So what if I were to say to you, for about $140, I can get you qualified as a chef with the Coast Guard Auxiliary and give you opportunity to go on board a ship, galleys around the area, and get a resume builder from working there. And we could do that for about $140, which includes the new uniform, which is this khaki pants, this shirt, this hat. It's an official now Coast Guard Auxiliary uniform. So you don't have to spend a lot of money for the ODUs and all the other great uniforms that you are entitled to wear as an auxiliarist. But the purpose is to build a resume. Not only that, if you're out on one of the boats, if you're in a galley, you're going to work with other people close to your age that are actually in the Coast Guard and give you some kind of feel. Do I like this? Maybe you do. It will give you that opportunity. And finally, what it really does for you, it builds a resume. What's your experience? I graduated from school here. Where's your experience? Oh, I worked at the pizza parlor. Oh, and I worked for the United States Coast Guard. And that's a resume builder. So that's the opportunity. They really have the information to provide you that is probably more interesting, but I just wanted to introduce the auxiliary. If anybody has interest in it, Chef can give you contact. Other than that, that's as brief as I go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, friends. Good morning. How you guys doing? Good. My name is Chief Petty Officer Terrence Young, obviously with the United States Coast Guard. I want to ask you guys two questions, right? Do you see yourself in a career in culinary? And second, do you see yourself bringing the Coast Guard into that career in culinary? I've been in the Coast Guard for 19 years now. I got one more year to go and I can retire next year. And my trade is a 911 dispatch, basically. It's like an operations specialist. Right now is an amazing time to be in the culinary sphere, right? And if I can go back 20 years ago, I would have took young Terrence and said, hey, go be a culinary specialist. There's so much stuff that is building up in this realm that I wish, hey, I would have told that young man, hey, 20 years from now, you're going to love your job and you're going to get so much opportunities. Today, I brought some friends from the training center in Petaluma to say, hey, here's some exposure to what the Coast Guard has to offer as far as culinary professions in the Coast Guard and then what life looks like afterwards. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Master Chief Adam Shelton and Senior Chief Edward Fuchs.
I don't need a microphone.
No, I think we're good.
I'll just stand over here on the side. And
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, I definitely don't need
No, no,
the microphone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Green light on the bottom. Green light. I'll
I
work
did
on
not.
it.
Oh, yep, that one works. Okay, for the recording. Everyone wants to hear my banjo accent amplified across this room.
There it is.
So, brief background about me. Originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I joined the Coast Guard in late 2002, so a little over 23 years of service. Up and down the East Coast, as I mentioned, I have been, as we both have, personal chefs for flag officers or admirals, and have been here in California. The first go-around permanently was in 2018. I left, went back to Coast Guard headquarters for a year on a special assignment, and have been back here since 23 with no real plan on leaving this time. Outside of this cold Lake County weather, the weather in California is unbeatable. So I think the missus and I are going to retire here eventually. Not quite as soon as Terrence, but I can see the end in sight. All right, we'll keep going, and then we'll answer some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions out there. I didn't see a lot of hands going up wanting a career in culinary, right? What about the trades in general? Who's looking for a job in the trades? Any kind of trade, right? All right. Who wants to travel, leave this area, and kind of see the United States? Right. How many of you were told to go to college and create your career from there? Right. How are you paying for that? Right? Anybody ever give that thought? Okay. So I want to say that we were sold a bill of sale, especially when I left high school, backwards. Is, to figure out what it is you want to do, spending a bunch of money at college, and then your job will follow. The Coast Guard offered me a different avenue, so I followed that traditional path. I graduated high school, I went to college, tried to figure out what it was I wanted to do, pick something I wasn't going to make any money in. I was kind of like a line cook at a hotel, and while I was trying to figure out what it was I was going to do with my life, spending tens of thousands of dollars at university, my chef's like, yeah, you're kind of good at this cooking thing. You should probably just go take a course down at the local community college and see if you like it. And so I did, and I did like it. But industry's tough. Not a lot of money to be made in culinary arts, right? So I was having problems making ends meet, and then I decided that at that time I ran into a couple people in the Coast Guard, and they kind of told me what was being offered, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that for about 4 years and get my feet under me and figure out what it means to be a chef and go out and do it. Here I am 20 years later, still trying to figure out what it means to do it on the outside. But on the inside, I've had quite a career. So like Adam had said, I've worked in the White House. I was the executive chef for Jan Napolitano, the Secretary of Homeland Security, did that job for 4 years. Did a lot of high-end work in like with Secret Service and cybersecurity under the Obama administration. I cooked dinners for Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg in the Coast Guard because of those jobs. Competed in the World Olympics, been part of the Coast Guard culinary team for about 18 years. Coast Guard paid for me to go get my bachelor's degree. So my job for 2 years was to live up in the mountains of Vermont, go to the New England Culinary Institute, and get paid to be a student. And then they paid my entire bachelor's degree, paid for my family to be relocated up there, paid my salary, all my medical expenses, and then my payback tour was to come out here to California and be an instructor. But I had never touched a dime out of my GI Bill. Because of that, I was able to gift that GI Bill to my 2 kids. So both of their colleges are paid for once they figure out what it is they want to do. So they're not going to do that in college like I did. But there's a bunch of benefits that I don't think anybody really explains well to you about what the military can offer. How many of you think that a military career has to be 20 years to be fruitful? You got to do a full 20 to get anything out of it. No. They have gone to a blended retirement system. So now, just like any other corporation, we have a 401k system that you can pay into, and the Coast Guard will price match, and you can retire at any time with money put away for retirement. Certifications paid for. How many here that certifications are good and career builders? We have CG Cool, which is credentialing online opportunities.
And what that means is that the Coast Guard will pay for any credentialing as long as it appears in there. So I've gotten my certified executive chef, my certified chef educator, and my certified culinary administrator through the American Culinary Federation, all paid for by the Coast Guard as well. We have access to the Naval Community College, which is a free community college for people in the Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard. So you could still get all of your education while serving and only do it for 4 years. And if you decide that you do want to go into the culinary arts and you are part of FCCLA, Pro Start, or Skills USA, you'll get a $25,000 bonus coming into the Coast Guard to be a cook for the Coast Guard. Get to pocket that money away, get your GI Bill, be able to serve for 4 years, get out, have all of that set up to go travel and do whatever you want with that, but set yourself up for your education and determine what it is that you want to do after the Coast Guard.
So opportunity, right? I said you're going to hear that word a lot, over and over and over again. And then outside of what Ed's talking about as far as the educational opportunities, we mentioned travel. There's also health insurance, which is huge. Nothing is getting cheaper these days. I realize that there's a lot of young faces in this room. You're not thinking about health insurance. When you get our age, you will definitely be thinking about health insurance. Yeah, some of that are closer to our age, those are the ones that are laughing. It's beyond that. It's sort of things that maybe don't get talked about enough, but it's just the structure. If you're coming out of high school or just now into maybe your first or second year of college and you really don't know, you're a little unsure, you're a little uneasy about things, it's just one of the many things that the military, not just the Coast Guard, but just life and uniform and service in general can offer you is structure. It will give you structure. It will teach you self-reliance, and it will build resolve, and it can give you a great sense of pride and self-worth as well. So outside of all of the tangible benefits, the travel, the educational benefits, the pay, and health insurance and security, all of that other stuff, like I said, things that you may be coming out of high school or right into college that are a little uneasy for some more so than others. Like I said, that structure and that resolve, it can definitely provide that for you.
Any of you think of military service?
All right. Well,
Are you still interested in military service?
Anybody come from military families? Any coastie families? Couple? Sweet.
Right. Yeah, no, and the thing is it's the same story no matter what branch of service you join. You have to go to MEPS, and you have to take the ASVAB. You're going to be shipped off to boot camp, 8 weeks of boot camp. They kind of cut you off from the outside world. They tear you down to build you back up.
I heard you get cell phones now.
Yeah, you get cell phone hours. You just don't get them with you all the time.
That is not the boot camp that I went to. Yeah. Anybody think about that and it's just terrifying? Think about going to boot camp? Yeah. I was a little older when I joined, so it wasn't quite a shock for me. I knew that the next 8 weeks were just going to be someone screaming at me and making me do a lot of push-ups, which is pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
But there's also a ton of academic curricula in that too. So not only are they building you up, well, to Ed's point, they sort of break you down then to rebuild you. But it's not only from a physical standpoint, but from a mental one as well. There's a ton of studying and an education piece to it. I had in the other services, the individuals who run that training are called drill sergeants or drill instructors. For us as company commanders, I had one of my company commanders who had been previously in the Army and also in the Marine Corps, and then landed in the Coast Guard. And I will never forget, Petty Officer Dawson was his name.
Yeah, I remember Dawson.
Said, he ended up out here, actually, years later. Said that outside of the Coast Guard, the Army, and the Marine Corps, that hands down, the Coast Guard was the most challenging basic training that he had gone to. That has always stuck with me, with someone who successfully completed Army and particularly Marine Corps boot camp, said that the Coast Guard was the most challenging. I also find it to be the most rewarding. Mm-hmm. And once you're done, it is a sense of accomplishment that will be second to none and that no one can take from you. I too had gone to, I think, that's a long time ago, I had to count back, maybe 4 different colleges that I had just kept trying and sort of kept bouncing around different degree programs, and none of them stuck. And plenty of the folks in my family had been in the military, none in the Coast Guard. My father was a former Navy sailor, and he was very adamant to not join that outfit. And he's the one who encouraged me to join the Coast Guard. So after years of multiple colleges that sort of never really landed for me, I said, well, I've done basically everything else. And leading up to that, I had been, again, not dissimilar, working in restaurants, front of the house and back of the house over the few years leading up to. So I said, well, this is what I've been doing already, so
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. And then I was only going to do one tour
Same.
and get out, and then try college again, and here we are, 23 years later. Yeah, and then you never think that it's surreal that I was a student in the culinary program back in 2003, and that I would one day come back to be the school chief or the principal. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. But we did have a couple questions out there.
Please.
You had a question?
Of course. Let's make it all formal. Tell us your name, where you're from, and your question.
My name is Isabel, and I'm from Kelseyville. I was just going to say that, like, I don't know, I've learned a lot about, like, the Army or, like, boot camp or whatever, because my family has a history of being in the military, and I just thought it was pretty cool career path to go down. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a pretty
Thank you.
cool career path. Mine's a little different. Like, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, landlocked, no Coast Guard, nothing, and no family history of military or anything. So I was the first one in my family to join, and to make a 20-year career out of it is, you know, my daughter wants to join the Coast Guard after having a whole life living in the Coast Guard already. Since she was about 5, like every year she does that first day of school picture, and it's join the Coast Guard. So I guess I did something right there. And you had a question, ma'am?
My name's Lisa, and I'm from Ukiah, California, but I live here now. I just was wondering, for culinary, you guys have to do boot camp?
Oh, yeah. So regardless of what rate or rating, those are the job specialties. And we have 23 enlisted ratings now, which I won't get too far off on a tangent about the officer corps and the enlisted side of the house. Terrence is better suited for that as a recruiter. But regardless, long story short, everyone on the enlisted side starts out going to basic training in Cape May, New Jersey. It's the only one in the entire Coast Guard is in Cape May, New Jersey. So 8 weeks of basic training, and then depending on your career path, you have either already chosen what job or specialty field you want to go into, or there is a possibility that you have not yet decided, and you can make that decision at a later date, if that makes sense.
Yep.
All of the 23, again, different specialties are split between Training Center Petaluma down in Sonoma County. There's one in Yorktown, Virginia, and then one in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. There's a couple outliers, but those are the main 3. Jeff.
Yeah, hi. I just had a quick question. Could you share with the students what a pathway might be to go from a culinary program and then to go in with a culinary certificate and the bonuses that might go with it? And then last time I took a tour there, I was really surprised, and I think this is super awesome. Maybe you can talk about maybe undocumented students that go into the program, and I was surprised to hear and some of the successes once they go through boot camp. Could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a tiered bonus system coming in. So if you just come in off the streets, you decide to join the Coast Guard and you want to be a cook, right now the bonus is $20,000 to say you want to cook in the Coast Guard. Those of you that put time in Skills USA, ProStart, or FCCLA, there's a $5,000 kicker for that. Then you also get to come in.
You have ServSafe.
Yep.
Any of that industry recognized stuff will put you up to 20.
Correct. Yeah. Any interest in the industry is definitely going to bump that up because you've already kind of explored it in high school or college and determined that you had a passion for it. Also, there is like bonus stacking. Terrence can talk to you more about that if you're interested in that. There's credit for so many college credits completed and so on and so forth. As far as undocumented, you still have to be in a green card status working towards citizenship, and then you can join and take time off of that process through service in the United States military. So you're going to come in on that visa work and green card status and be able to complete all of that and also get the funding through the military to help pay for that process as well. So there are many opportunities to through service to get citizenship.
And we've seen a few over the years,
Yeah.
naturalization and citizenship ceremonies that we have out at the base.
Got one more over here. Is this our last one? Or?
I just have a question. I'm 48 years old. Is there age?
Just missed it. So yes, there is an age. It's 42 upon the date of shipment. So as long as you're not 42 years of age the day you ship to boot camp, you're good to go. All right, you just have to be able to meet all the same requirements. So we got time for one more. I got a hand back here. All right.
Mr. Thomas, I see you back there.
I just want to know, cause like with the the green card stuff, like let's say you're a U.S. citizen, does that help like for you to get like citizenship for like a parent or something?
That I don't know for sure.
That's a
Dependent
tricky
citizenship. All right.
I just wanted to throw one thing in. Coast Guard Auxiliary, there ain't no 8 weeks of
Get out of here.
that there is no requirement of GI. The pay is very, very little. But it's an opportunity here in Lake County to add to your resume and get with these guys. They have a great program.
No age requirement. The auxiliary is
wide open.
Yeah, it's like the volunteer fire department. It's the best thing that's happened to the Coast Guard. The jobs and the work that the auxiliary puts in alongside us blue suiters, standing command watch, cooking in the galleys with us, doing cybersecurity. We have pilots that do it. We have coxswains that drive their own boat to do safety inspections. They are all over the place helping us out doing the mission out there. So a lot of the stuff that we do, we wouldn't be able to do without the auxiliary. So they are a key player in our missions in the Coast Guard. So thank you again for pushing the auxiliary out here and getting people to join it. It's fantastic.
Huge asset. Yes. Shout out Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hey guys, just want to give a quick shout out and thank you so much to Master Chief Adam Shelton and Senior Chief Edward Fuchs for coming on over from Petaluma. So thanks for listening, getting some exposure to the Coast Guard, right? We're like one of those smaller branches that everyone picks on and no one really thinks about that much, right? But you think about the kind of stuff that these guys have done, working with the White House and all the things that they've done. It's big and impactful. I'm looking around the room to the people that are out here, the different dynamics, the age dynamics and everything, where your backgrounds are coming from. I just have a request for my older people in the room. Like I said before, culinary is a big booming industry right now. Spread the word about it, right? All these guys are doing so much good stuff for you, where the CIA and the community college and the Coast Guard are coming out and say, hey, here's opportunities, and we wouldn't be giving you bad opportunities. We're saying, hey, come join this industry. It's really booming right now. For the younger folks in the room, my charge for you is to be curious, right? Right now, if you're a sophomore, junior, be curious. Ask questions like you guys just did about Coast Guard and culinary in general, right? Whether life pathway takes you down to military or takes you to culinary, just ask questions, right? I'll probably be at Kelseyville here next week, right? So y'all see me next week. What I don't want to see is the senior it's April time frame and they don't have any plans because they didn't be curious when they were here in like a job fair type atmosphere, guys. So be curious and spread the word about culinary. And thank you guys so much for having us here.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all. We have one more speaker representing the Culinary Institute of America, and then we'll have Chef Robert Caparros talk about a little bit about the program here at the college.
Thank you very much. My name is Mauricio Gutierrez. I am actually at the St. Helena location. I work with admissions and counseling to basically enroll students coming into the program. One thing we do on our end is basically help educate those people coming into the culinary field. I had the great pleasure of actually speaking with Chef Rob early on and him explaining the program itself. that he has here and working in conjunction with the CIA. On our end, we have 3 different campuses. We have one basically here in St. Helena that only has 340 students. That's it. It's really nice. It's very quaint, I would say, but really you get the one-on-one experience with the chef instructors. We have another campus in Texas. That campus only has 220 students. The campus here, just so you know, does have dorms, so there is housing here that's available. The campus that is actually in Texas does not have housing because, just so you know, it's a little bit more affordable in Texas to find an apartment than it is here. And then we have our main campus in Hyde Park, New York, that has 2,400 students throughout. That particular program is a little bit more robust. It's the main campus that we started everything for, specifically for vets coming out of the Second World War. So we started off as a trade school that developed into a college. Now, the one thing about this industry that we want to teach you, not only the kitchen part of the back of the house and the front of the house, is actually how to operate a business. This is a business. Networking is super important in this. I always tell the students coming in, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Look like a chef if you want to be a chef. If you want to be a mechanic, look like a mechanic, but develop this because we're going to be adding to your resume. Our program is 19 months from start to finish. It is 5 semesters. The first 2 semesters are really fundamentals on your end about service and basically making sure that you're up to speed with the kitchen that we have on our end. A semester, just so you know, is basically 15 weeks. Now, the 3rd semester, what we do is, because most of the students that start with us are 17, 18 years old out of school. Keep in mind, I get everybody. 2 semesters ago, I had a great-grandmother that graduated, and she was in her mid-60s. But that's what she wanted to do. So the 3rd semester, we have an externship. The externship program, you can go anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. That particular program will put you basically in a CIA pre-approved kitchen, and you will get hands-on experience. The best part about that semester, it's tuition-free. And most of those positions, just so you know, are paid. Some of these positions also incorporate housing because when you go somewhere, housing is a part of the cost of going somewhere, to whether it be college or this job in particular. But we need you to have experience in this industry. With the Coast Guard's offering and those programs, they provide some of the experience that you'll need for your resume as you're building your career out. Then you come back because now you have real experience in the kitchen on your end. Now you can go ahead and we're going to go more advanced technique. So on the culinary side, just so you know, during the 19 months you're with us, we're going to go through meals from the Americas. I'm originally from Honduras. So we'll start with Central America, North America, South America, and the Caribbean nations. We'll go through European dishes. We'll go through Mediterranean dishes, Asian dishes. And then we touch a little bit on African dishes by way of South Africa and Morocco. There's a lot of dishes in the 19 months that you're going through with us. And then in your 5th semester on our end, you're going to go ahead and work in our restaurant. So if you haven't had fine dining before, I recommend that you go and make reservations at the Gatehouse Restaurant. It is very affordable. You're looking at fine dining, 4 courses, $65. The really nice thing about it is every single student that's in there is basically about to graduate. They have to work every single job at the back of the house and also the front of the house. So they need to understand how everything operates on their end. They look at the books, make sure everything is balancing out. So that's a program in itself. Now, I was introduced to basically the Coast Guard by way of Chef Rob. And I always look at when I went to school. When I went to school, my parents immigrated here from Honduras with myself and my brother. And I went and looked at the costs of basically school. And I'm saying, oh my God, how am I going to pay for this? So I happened to be playing football. And I said, hopefully I can get a scholarship. If I can't get a scholarship, I was going to go to the JC and hopefully get a scholarship. And if that didn't work, I was going to join the Marines. It wasn't the Coast Guard, but I was going to join the Marines because my godfather was a vet. So I looked at it, and I said, these are my options. The one thing about that is you want to have a plan no matter what you do. Does not matter. Have a plan in place. I have plan A, B, and C. In going through it now, I look at it, and I'm like, wow, okay, how would I have done this? I did get the scholarship, just so you know. But on my end, I had to look at the costs. What does it cost me to go? I did not want to put this burden on my parents. I said, I can figure this out. What I will tell you is, number one, Look at the community college. Woodland's a great program here. Look at the cost for that. Look at the pathway you have through basically the Coast Guard. Also look at our costs, because I want you to have everything in front of you as you go through this entire program. And now you'll have a better understanding of the costs and what it will take to get through each level of this. I myself always like to say, start an application, you come through with us, you can see that cost, you can see the cost of coming to Woodland, and then you can better understand that if you go to the Coast Guard or another branch of the service to understand what your options are. Because a lot of times you're just not exposed to this. For me, it's all about managing this as you go through it. Then at that point, also apply to other culinary programs. We're not the only game in town, there's other culinary programs. And I would say, just look at that. Now you can decide for yourself, you can have the information you really need on your end to make the best decision moving forward. We ourselves, I think we have a great program. But once again, it's at cost. What does it cost? If you come to the CIA on the GI Bill, you're looking at about 90% of everything being paid. You also get a housing allotment on your end, which is very nice, I would say very generous. That way you can come to the school. Now you'll have that GI Bill if you want to get your bachelor's. Chef Rob introduced me to starting here at Woodland College, getting your associate degree, looking at the service, going there, looking at the bonuses so you understand how much money is available for you for your 4 years, then coming through again and finishing with the CIA with another associate degree, because it is another level. When I was introduced to this, I now expose our students when they go through, because we have a path for a bachelor's degree. You must finish a bachelor's degree in Hyde Park, New York. But now our students are looking at like, wow, I got my associate degree, let me go into the service. Great, I always gear them towards basically the Coast Guard. Because why? Logistically, this is a perfect storm. Everything is in this area already. Now they come in and they're like, great, now I have the GI Bill for my bachelor's degree and also my master's, if I want that. So there is a path for everything. So it's two things that you got to consider. Number one, you're going to have the cost of education. It's X, right? You'll have access to FAFSA on your end. So you'll deduct that from there. The remaining balance is what your share is for education. The Coast Guard or other services actually provide funding that you will need to really eliminate that huge cost that you would get. So I have friends, personal friends of mine, they graduate college and now they owe $80,000, $70,000, what have you. So I would like to alleviate that problem on your behalf. If you like my information, I will have information, because I truly believe that you came here, you made an investment to come here. I will give you a code so you don't have to pay the $50 application fee on our end, because I don't want that burden to be on you, so you can see what your path is. So this is just an option on your end. The culinary field is growing. We also do baking and pastries, just so you know. You have to choose one or the other. So you can't, right brain, left brain. Culinary people are not the same as baking and pastry people, but it just depends what you'd like to do. And now we're here really on our end to educate you on who we are and what we do and how we work with other partners in this area. So it is a big decision. Culinary is growing, baking and pastry is growing on your end. But I will be here towards the end of the day. If you have any additional questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. And I have to say, this is probably the best decision you made in actually coming here, because you just have a better understanding how you can alleviate the cost of education moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much. We have about 15 minutes left in this session, so I'm going to turn it over to Robert. But be thinking today, you're going to hear some themes. I think we've heard about networking and talking with your students, your advisors, people that have culinary type businesses, as well as the planning and the budgeting, right? Time and money, right? All right. So Chef Robert, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I have this awesome opportunity at the end of our semester to take our students on a field trip. And then so we go on a field trip through the Napa Valley, and one of our stops is always with Mauricio at the Culinary Institute. And so often I have students that have questions. Chef, even with my certificate or with my degree, would you say to go on to another school? And that's the pathway that I followed. I went to a community college, and I went for a for-profit school. Western Culinary was a Lake Cordon Bleu school, and it was really the key to my success to go to 2 schools. But when it's all said and done, and the financial part is usually what stops the students from continuing their education. So when I talked to Rich at the Coast Guard Auxiliary, I started to put together this pathway. And then so I just want you young folks to imagine. I heard a few things over and over. Opportunity, and Rich started with a resume. So I want you just to envision what it might look like for you to have this resume. That I started with the high school program, and I did really good. And I was the culinary club president, or I participated in this competition. And then I went to a community college, and I did really well there, and I got my degree. And then I enlisted in the Coast Guard, and I was a Coast Guard chef for this boat. And then when I was done, I had this awesome GI Bill, and I went to the Culinary Institute. Now, what does your resume look like now? And it's really just starting your career. And what an awesome opportunity and journey. I tell my students, that's really a culinary journey that is totally obtainable by you guys that are in a high school program now. The second part, or the third part of this, is I wanted to take you guys on a tour now. So I'm going to invite you guys, bring your material. I'm going to take you guys across the way to show you our facility. They'll be preparing this room for the next presentation. If you're not with our Coast Guard, with our culinary programs, and you'd like to join us on this tour, I welcome you to join us. And then thank you again.
Interrupt you, Rob?
Absolutely.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to let you know, if you are a lady and you need to use the restrooms, please don't use this one here right across the way. You're going to need to walk all the way down to the main admin building, and there's a ladies' restroom there. There's also a single restroom over here in the science building, but you'll form a line quickly over there. Sorry for the inconvenience and the interruption. Who's next? Yeah.
We're good. I'm going to take them on a tour. Yes, yeah.
So, hi everybody, real quick. You were given a survey on your way in. If not, I have extras and pins. We do need these surveys, so make sure you fill them out before you take off. All right, thanks.